Alright everybody, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, just have a seat, pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee. If you don't like coffee, tea is cool. In this video I want to talk about when it comes to changing your habits. There's a ton of advice out there on the internet, and there are plenty of resources that I have turned to myself to figure out how to change my habits, and these are just some things that worked for me, so hopefully they'll work for you too. And this is entirely improvised. I don't have a list, so hopefully I don't waste your time or ramble for too much. When it comes to changing your habits, the most important thing is a really good why. If you're going to change anything about your life, you need a really strong why. And if you're over the age of like 25, your patterns become more ingrained and it's more difficult to move outside of them. Changing your habits is hard. The neurological pathways that are developed from repetitive behaviors never go away. So there's always going to be an impetus to return to the way that things were before. So in order to maintain your trajectory of success, you need to be able to revisit the original purpose for going through this change in the first place. And that reason has to be enough to propel you away from your comfort zone so that you can keep moving forward. Recently quit drinking, and the reason is because I was developing arthritis, and I noticed that the arthritis was associated with sugar consumption, and obviously alcohol is a sugar of a kind, so I eliminated it along with other things. And this why was pretty easy for me because I literally could not walk, and I was developing fibromyalgia and back pain, just pain everywhere. I was losing my hair, I was having heart palpitations. There was just a number of things. My health was completely out of whack. And so being that far out of balance at such a young age was a really strong impetus for me to get my act together. So I quit drinking, and so I had a really strong why. But you don't want to wait for the inevitable to occur. You don't want to wait for outside circumstances to be the impetus for you to change. You want to avoid that. You want to make a change before you have to. I may cut that narrative out entirely. And it may sound discouraging to know that neurological pathways never disappear, but the bright side of that is that you can develop new neurological pathways, and those don't disappear either. And I learned this from this book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It's very important to have a really strong why. Two would be get into the habit of getting into habits. I read Atomic Habits by James Clear this summer. He emphasizes the need to start small. So one of his principles is to make it easy. So I picked something really small I would stick to, because my habit was to not stick with things. It's literally just the purpose of the thing was doing the thing. That's it. The habit that I chose to develop was in the morning. I have 2 questions in the book, in my bullet journal, that I answer every single morning without fail. And it's, how am I feeling today? And what is the most important thing for me to do today? And that's it. So I wake up in the morning at the same time, I'd sit down at the same desk, the book is already open, my pen is already laid on it, and I just write how I feel and what the most important thing for me to do that day is. And that's it, and I've done it. I have not stopped doing it. This is a practice of sort of redeveloping confidence and trust in myself, and if you're a person who struggles with habit building and habit creation or habit breaking, the process can culminate in like a damaged relationship with yourself on some level, because you're angry with yourself, you're disappointed with yourself. So it's important to have patience and forgiveness, because these things are hard, but it's also useful to give yourself tiny exercises that rebuild the confidence, the trust, the enthusiasm for the practice itself, because all habits are behaviors repeated over and over again over a period of time. So it has to be enjoyable, approachable, attainable, and achievable on some level every day. It can't be associated with too much negative self-talk. Number 1 was have a really strong why. And number 2, develop the habit of developing habits. And number 3 would be stay consistent. And I mean, I'm going to tack that on to like a 3A, which would be don't be too hard on yourself. I'm going to change my intonation when I say that, so that it goes downward, so that you know that I mean that. There's no question here. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's really difficult to change, especially if it's something that we're trying to change that we've been doing for a really long time. And often if what we're thinking about changing is something that we have been using to unintentionally comfort ourselves, that it only serves to be counterproductive to berate ourselves for not accomplishing the thing in the process of trying to stop doing the thing that we're doing to comfort ourselves because we berate ourselves. Do you see where I'm going with this? With me, for instance, I don't always doom scroll, but when I do, I'm probably avoiding something because it's hard, or because I don't know how to do it, or I'm intimidated, or for whatever reason there's just some sort of dread associated with the thing that I'm avoiding. And so if I am mean to myself, it's just more likely that I'm going to try and comfort myself by repeating old behaviors that have comforted me before. It's literally counterproductive to be mean to yourself about your progress. So don't be mean to yourself about your progress. Just keep moving forward. Yes, all the things that everyone says about the finiteness of time and the responsibility that we have for ourselves and our actions are true. All of that is true. You have to stick with something in order to get good at it. You can't quit. But if you do, just do it again. Take what you learned, recommit, revisit your reason why, and just keep going. Just be good to yourself. But it's important to stay consistent. There is freedom in discipline. A lack of structure breeds nothing, really. Think about it. I'm literally picturing latent potential in the form of just a globulous mass. It's just clay. If you don't give it some sort of structure, it is just material. When we're talking about being consistent, and we're talking about giving form, giving shape to the potential. If the potential is that you don't smoke anymore, then the structure you're giving it is not having cigarettes in your pocket, not hanging around folks who smoke, whatever it is. If the latent potential is you quit drinking, then the structure you give it is you don't hang out at bars. If the latent potential is that you exercise regularly, then the structure you give it is waking up at 6 a.m. every day to go to the gym. Obviously there needs to be a balance because you can't abuse yourself, but you have to take it seriously, you have to stick with it. And so don't give up, don't quit, stick with it, hang in there, just keep going. Just keep going. Keep going. New habits that I've started are journaling, like I said, so I do morning pages every day. If you don't know what morning pages are, it's a practice from the book The Artist's Way.
It's written by Julia B. Cameron in 1992.
Just write 3 pages every single morning as soon as you wake up without stopping. It's just a stream of consciousness. And it's been really helpful for me. And I could talk about that in another video, but my camera has a 10-minute time limit on videos, and I don't know how long this has been going on for, so I'm going to end it here just in case. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments, and thank you for listening, and I hope that I helped you out with something important, and I believe in you, and I trust you. Talk to you later. Bye. I think it's really funny because everything is everything, right? The prophet Lauryn Hill was right. There are infinite lenses through which to perceive life, and each and every lens that you choose is an accurate representation without exception, for better or worse. I've had times in my life where I was like, everything is about food. Everything in life just always comes back down to food. Everything is about relationships. Everything in life just comes right back down to relationships. And right now I'm like, everything is habits. Everything in life just boils right back down to habits. And there's plenty more, right? Everything in life is about art, right? All the gods are real. So yes, a habit is literally everything. All the tiny actions that we take every single day of our lives ultimately add up to who we are, what we value, what we represent, and what our legacy is. So they're important.